me tell you a couple of stories. First of all, let me tell you the reason I'm here. 26 years ago, when I was the president of the Cobb County Chamber, we started to give our schools a hand. We did the first handprints in the square around Marietta, and we've done it every year since. I want to thank David Connell and the members of the Chamber of Commerce for continuing their testimony to public education and to the teachers of our state. There are two quotes that I want to make, and I want you to tie those to these two gentlemen that are up here. Number one, for all the students in the room, today is the first day of the rest of your life. And for all the teachers in this room, the children you teach are a message you send to a time you will never see. And I brought these two people up here today to tell you two stories about my life and teachers in my life that made a difference. And it puts a face on every teacher, it puts a face on every student, because you're all special. And the spouses who are here to support their teacher of the year and the families, I know how proud you are. But I think these stories will mean something to you just as well. Ken in the 8th grade, where's Ken? Sitting behind me here. Ken in the 8th grade, I was an acne-faced 13-year-old starting at 8th grade at North Fulton High School in Atlanta in 1958. I lacked self-confidence. I was kind of shy and receding. Rode the bus to school, rode the bus home, really didn't get involved in extracurricular activities. Nobody would ever label me a United States Senator. And then when I got assigned my 8th grade English teacher for North Fulton High School that year in my freshman year, I got assigned to a lady named Alice Gibson. Alice Gibson was the toughest, meanest, most feared teacher in the Atlanta public schools. She wore her hair in a bun, didn't put on any makeup, and everybody was terrified of Alice. I was told, get out of that class, whatever you can do, and I tried, but I couldn't. And so I went to the first day of class, and it was my last period. Back then, you didn't have middle schools, you had elementary school and high school. It was the last period of the day, and I walked in the classroom and did what every acne-faced, shy and receding, acne self-confident student does. I went to the back of the room, and I slithered down in my desk, thinking maybe she wouldn't notice me and I'd get ready to coast through the English class. So I went in there and I was wrong. She said, today I'm going to teach you a little bit about English literature, and this weekend you're going to do a project for me. I'm going to read to you the poem Evangeline, but this weekend you're going to go home and memorize it. And then when we all come back on Monday, each one of you is going to come up one by one and recite it. I opened the book to Evangeline and said, oh my goodness, first of all, it doesn't rhyme, and second of all, it's 3 pages long. So I went home that weekend, and y'all don't know who Ed Sullivan is, but I only studied after Ed Sullivan's show on Sunday night. There are a few folks in here who remember that. I always figured I could cram at the last minute and do my homework. So I went home that weekend, didn't study Evangeline until about 9 o'clock at night on Sunday night. And I was supposed to go to the 6th class the next day and recite it verbatim. And I opened it up and I tried for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, and I said, oh heck, Isakson's in the middle of the alphabet. She won't get to me tomorrow. I'll do this tomorrow night. And I'm Scandinavian, and I blush a little bit. Turn red pretty easy. Y'all know how that is. So when I got to class the next day and slithered into my seat at the back of the room, I turned kind of beet red because she knew that I didn't know Evangeline. So she went to the front of the class. She said, well, we're going to start reciting Evangeline, and Mr. Isakson's going to be our first student. I went up to the front of that room, opened my mouth, and nothing came out. It seemed like 30 minutes, but it was only 30 seconds. She walked over to me and she put her arm around me. She said, Mr. Isakson, you're better than that. You're capable of memorizing Evangeline. You're smarter than that. And I want you to come here tomorrow and show me how good you really are. I got so mad at Miss Gibson, I couldn't stand it. But you know what she did? She made me go home, and I've never worked harder in my life. And I memorized Evangeline. And the next day in class, when we got to class, she stood up and said, okay, our first person is going to be Mr. Isakson. Come on up and recite Evangeline. And I walked up to the front of the room with all the confidence in the world, and I said, this is the forest primeval, the murmuring pines and the hemlocks. I have never forgotten the lines of Evangeline, because that lady embodied in my mind the ability that I could do anything I set my mind to do. The reason you teachers are teachers of the year today, the reason these students love you and your colleagues love you is because you're changing lives just like Alice Gibson changed mine. She made a difference in my life. I wouldn't be in the United States Senate if it wasn't for my teachers. You know, I'll tell you an interesting story about teachers. There's one question you can ask any audience, and everybody will know the answer to the question, and everybody's answer is different. Because if you ever go in a room and stand up and say, I want everybody to picture for a minute their favorite teacher, everybody instantly remembers who their favorite teacher was. There's no other question on earth you can ask a person where everybody will know the answer. but teachers make the difference. Now, in terms of John Stafford helped with physical fitness at Walton High School for the football team in 1989. In 1989, my son Kevin, who was a student at Walton, was in a tragic automobile accident. He was lucky to survive. He had 4 operations. He was in a wheelchair. He played defensive end for Walton. The doctors told my wife and I that he'd never play football again. We said, don't tell Kevin. Don't tell Kevin, because if you tell him that, I don't think he'll do what he has to do to rehabilitate. John Stafford was a teacher at Walton, and John kind of took Kevin under his wing. Gave him a poem which is still on Kevin's dresser. Kevin's 43 years old now. But the footprints in the sand poem that you gave Kevin is still there today. And he taught him how to rehabilitate. And 10 months after an accident, it cost him 4 operations and to live in a wheelchair. Kevin started at defensive end for Walton High School against Brookhaven. John Stafford changed his life. And today he's a successful young man because of a lot of things, hopefully his parents, but also John Stafford, his teacher. So my message to you today is that your community is very proud of you, all of you, the students, the spouses, the superintendents, all of the teachers, the winners, to Ed Boyles and what they're doing to recognize everybody and give you a prize for what you've done. You are very special because you are sending a message to the future that's bright and hopeful and promising. And for you students, today is the first day of the rest of your life, and the rest of your life is going to be just as good as how much attention you pay to your teacher, how much attention you pay to the challenges your teacher makes, how much you realize the gift that you're being given that you'll never get a second chance. So do what your teachers tell you, learn from your teachers, let them inspire you, and you'll be just as lucky as my children have been, just as lucky as I have been, and just as lucky as the people of Cobb County have been to have the best public and city school systems in the United States of America, the city of Marietta and Cobb County Public Schools. Thanks to our winners. Congratulations to all of you. God bless you.